So, I have a cute little success story to tell you. The war is over. Yes, I have finally manifested a damn job. Everybody say hallelujah. It has been a long and winding, arduous road to get here, let me tell you that. It has been over a year and a half, actually, of manifesting this job. And so I am feeling so much better than I was. And in the time that it's taken this to manifest for me, I've learned a lot of things about manifestation, and it's been quite the journey. But it got me thinking about how sometimes manifestations can take a while, right? How some people can manage to manifest things in 24 hours, and other people it can take multiple years. I was actually watching a YouTube video earlier today where somebody explained how they had written down a manifestation list back in 2023, and the thing at the very top had only manifested in 2026. Almost 3 years later, the thing manifested. And it got me thinking about why that is. The usual explanation for this is that the person was probably wavering, they probably weren't affirming enough, they weren't doing methods properly, they were not staying in the new story or the new identity, whatever people want to say. And yes, of course, that can be a reason why. But also, I think we can't discount the fact that sometimes the unfolding of things just does take that long. Yes, manifestation is real. Yes, the 4D is the more powerful. And yes, miraculous things can happen every single day. 24-hour manifestations can and do happen, but they are not the norm. They are the outlier. I've used examples of celebrities before in the past. When a new celebrity pops up on the scene, we think of them as an overnight success, when actually they have been grinding and putting in the work and never giving up for years, sometimes for some people, decades. And they have flop after flop after flop until suddenly they succeed. And that doesn't necessarily mean that every manifestation is going to take years, but we need to give ourselves a bit more time and grace. If you are manifesting an entire life overhaul where you're doing a 180 with everything, with your finances, with the home you live in, with a business, with relationships, you can't expect that to happen overnight. And even if it does, likelihood is you will not be ready for it, which is why people talk about identity and self concept, because yes, they are important, very much so. But neuroplasticity requires repetition over time. You can't rewire your brain in one day. I wish it did, but it takes slightly longer than that. And that's okay. Not everything has to be a 24-hour job. And I think honestly, this obsession with 24-hour results is very damaging to a lot of people, because they wake up tomorrow morning and they look around and their life is the same and nothing has happened, and they immediately think to themselves, oh shit, I have failed. It didn't work. Manifesting isn't real. And you come to some pretty wild conclusions because you are disappointed and frustrated with being let down continuously. And I talk about this a lot, but that continuous hope and disappointment and that cycle happening over and over again, it can be very hard for your nervous system to let you have hope again. And you can end up not even trying anymore, stopping yourself from going from something because you're afraid of that disappointment again. It's a conditioned response. It doesn't just come from nothing. It's like learning a skill. If you start learning a skill that you've never done before, you can't expect yourself to be perfect at it your first try. That doesn't mean that you can never be good at this thing ever. You just need to give yourself a bit more time, a bit more practice, and a bit more space to grow. I don't think I've talked about this on my channel before, but I used to live in South Korea. I lived there for 2 years. Now, initially, I wanted to go to Korea right after I graduated uni, which was back in 2019. And I had everything ready. I was ready to go. But a friend of mine who I was supposed to go with kept delaying. And then a little thing called COVID happened and completely derailed my plans. I didn't actually end up going to Korea until 2 years later. At the time, it was very frustrating and I was so annoyed because it felt like my life was being delayed. But when I look back, it was actually good that it didn't happen immediately, because in those 2 years, I did a lot of growing. I really worked on my health, physically and mentally. I was at the top of my game with my spirituality. I had such a good connection with my intuition. I was learning a lot of skills from the job that I had at the time. And I took that time to develop my skill in Korean. And by the time I actually went to Korea, I was so much more prepared for it. If I had gone when I initially wanted to, I wouldn't have been ready and I would have been way less skilled. And this is the thing, if your manifestation is taking a while, don't think of it as, oh, the universe is delaying me on purpose, or I'm being punished, or the universe is against me. But instead, think of it as time for development, preparation time. Each day that goes by that you don't have your manifestation in the physical is another day for you to be able to get ready for it to come in. And some people might see that as, well, if you're preparing for it, then you don't actually have it. But that's not necessarily true. Just because you have a gold medal doesn't mean you stop training. You can still think of your manifestation as inevitable or like you already have it, while still acknowledging that you don't have it in the physical. You can still learn about money and get better with money when manifesting more money. You can still develop your skills in relationships when you don't currently have a partner. In fact, I would argue that acting as though you are prepping for something to come in is a form of manifestation in and of itself. People always use the online order example of manifestation is like placing an Amazon order where you know it's coming and you're expecting it to arrive and you're excited for it. If you have ordered a new couch, for example, then you need to prepare for a new couch. You need to make sure that you have space in your house for a couch. So what do you do to prepare for that? Well, you get rid of your old one, you find it a new home, or you take it to a tip, you clean and prep the space where the new couch will be, ready for when it comes. That's not you saying that you don't yet have a couch. That's you making space for it. It's exactly the same kind of mindset. You are getting ready for this thing to physically slot into your life. And like I've said before, if you are not physically, emotionally, mentally ready for something, you're not going to be able to handle it. Either you are going to self-sabotage and you're going to push it away, or you're not going to even see it as an opportunity in the first place and you're not going to take it. There are a million different ways that you can get in your own way. If you don't have the skills to sustain and keep something, then you're just going to keep falling into the same old toxic patterns and habits that has kept you stuck in the past. So using this time that you have now before the thing comes in is a good way to up your skills and get you properly prepared. And this is quite a basic concept. I don't think I need to explain this that much. But basically what I'm trying to say is having some patience with your manifestations is going to take the pressure off. When we try and make things happen quicker, or we try and control it or force it, we get impatient and frustrated. I'm sure you all know by now that's not going to help you at all. So hang in there, keep doing what you need to do, but don't panic if things don't come in within 24 hours, especially if it's a big life change or it's something that actually you're not ready for. Okay, I think I've made my point. I'm not going to ramble at you anymore. If you like the video, please leave a like. It really helps out my channel. Subscribe if you would like to see more. And leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you've experienced instant manifestation or if you've had things that have come in years after. If you don't know what to comment, just leave me an orange emoji and I will see you in my next one. Bye.